As a boy growing up, often at bedtime, Mom and Dad would tell stories of knights in shining armor and their bravery and valor and strength during the many battles they experienced. Now I know this is an Appalachian channel. You must be wondering, why in the world are you talking about knights? Well, that's an interesting story we are about to discover. Archaeologists were doing some work in the 17th century Third Church of Jamestown in Jamestown, Virginia. What they would discover sent shock waves around the world. In the floor was a headstone. No name was written on who was interred there. The stone did have a very unique story to tell. No words were inscribed, but there were 3 images inlaid into the stone. A closer look showed the remnants of copper. Vandals years prior stole the copper inlays, but the design was easy to tell. A coat of arms, a shield, and the clear outline of a knight in his full armor were visible. Why was this knight interred in Jamestown? Who was he? Where did he come from? And what is his story? Appalachia, the mountains, are like no other. From its rigid terrain, beautiful wildlife, to the people that live their lives here, to the strange, unexplained stories that folks share. Join me while I share this amazing place, one story at a time. The man's name was Sir George Yeardley. He was born July 28th, 1588. St. Sever's Parish, Southwark in Surrey. His father was Ralph Yeardley, and his mother was Rhonda Marston. Ralph was a London merchant and tailor. When George grew up, he did not want to do as his father, so he joined a company of English foot soldiers fighting in the Netherlands. George became captain of the guard and was chosen to serve Sir Thomas Gates as he served as governor of Virginia. The two set sail for Virginia June the 1st, 1609. 8 weeks into the trip, the convoy of ships ran headlong into a tropical storm. 2 of the ships sank in the Bermuda Triangle. Thank goodness all survived and swam ashore on one of the islands. They survived long enough to build 2 ships to continue their journey, finally arriving May the 23rd, 1610. The convoy of ships made a grim discovery upon their arrival to Jamestown. Many of the settlers passed of sickness and plain old starvation, and a few had been killed by natives who did not like them trespassing on their land. Sir Thomas decided to load the settlers and leave Jamestown abandoned and return to England. Captain George Yeardley was given orders to lead his guards in protecting the settlement until supplies could be sent back. As ordered, George did protect the settlement. Soon enough, Lord Delaware returned with much needed supplies and reinforcements. Captain Yeardley became co-commander of the forts Henry and Charles in modern-day Hampton, Virginia. October of 1610, the Lord Delaware was given orders to both Captains Yeardley and Edward Brewster to take 150 men into the mountains on an expedition looking for gold and silver mines. Over the next few years, Sir Thomas Dale founded the Bermuda Hundred Plantation, to which Sir George served as second in command. April 1st, 1616, Sir Thomas left for England, escorting Pocahontas and George Rolfe to London. In his absence, Sir George was made deputy governor. During his time as deputy governor, Sir George made a pact with local natives to secure food and peace for 2 years. He wed Temperance Flowerdew of Norfolk, who made the first treacherous journey. While the other ships were wrecked, the one she crossed on made it on time. May 1617, Delaware arrived with a new deputy governor, Samuel Argall. Sir George returned to England shortly after the new deputy governor arrived. November the 18th, 1618, the Virginia Company of London gave instructions for Sir George to commission the first assembly in Virginia and create the ancient planter headright system. This is known as the Great Charter. November the 24th, a few days later, Sir George was promoted to governor for 3 years and was officially knighted by James I in Newmarket. Just before sailing back to Virginia with Great Charter, a comet appeared over England. This was considered a sign of bad luck for the English. When Sir George convened the first General Assembly in Jamestown, there were representatives from the Flowerdew Hundred Plantation. Sir George was to lead the first assembly and legislative house of burgesses, the first on American soil. The date was July 30th, 1619, and they met at the church in Jamestown. The first act of business as a representative body was to set the price for tobacco. Sir George purchased 1,000 acres of land on nearby Mulberry Island the same year. He named it Stanley Hundred Plantation after his in-laws. Sir George spent £120 to build the first windmill in British America. That was a lot of money for the time. So how did he afford it? He grew tobacco, corn, and sold fish and livestock as well. Sir George's term as governor ended in 1622. Just 3 years later, he again found himself as deputy governor. September the 11th, 1626, Sir George presided the witchcraft inquiry over John Wright, the first on record against an English settler in a British Northern American colony. His term as governor lasted until 1627. Sadly, Sir George passed November the 13th, 1627, and he was interred inside the third Jamestown Church, where he was discovered. Folks, I want to thank you for sitting and listening to the very interesting tale of the Appalachian Knight, Sir George Yeardley of Jamestown, Virginia. Appreciate you listening. I love you to pieces. And I'll see you next time.